Hey class, I thought I would shoot a quick video here to tell you the story that I alluded to in the discussion post earlier. So I've got two different pictures here up on the screen for you to look at here. So the one on the left is actually my dad's side of the family. This older gentleman here is my grandfather, this is my grandmother, this is my father, and this is my uncle. So here's the story. So my grandfather was a security guard around 1938, 1939, and he was scheduled to work a night shift. Now, the way that he ended up in this particular position was he had been disowned by his parents, so my great-grandparents, because he had married my grandmother, who was literally from the wrong side of the tracks. She was considered poor white trash. So they disowned him. My great-grandparents, his parents, were pretty wealthy and were involved in real estate and kind of hoity-toity people. And so they just felt like that was just a horrible marriage. So even though he had been in college and had been doing well and had developed a lot of engineering equipment, he ended up as a security guard patrolling the areas where when the union was striking at the time. So he and his partner go to work one night, and he's not feeling very well. He's had some teeth problems. He and his partner discover a burglar trying to break into one of the buildings that he's supposed to protect. He and his partner give chase, and my grandfather fires a warning shot down at the railroad ties. The bullet bounces off the ties and enters the body of the burglar as he's running away and kills the burglar. What happens that night is my grandfather is then arrested for first-degree murder. So initially you're thinking, what? That doesn't even make any sense. But if you think about just the picture I gave you here, you have somebody running from somebody, a shot being fired into the back, without any kind of crime scene forensics, knowing the angle of the bullet, maybe a DA that is looking to have a great case for his political reasons. That's why somebody could very easily be arrested for first-degree murder, and so that's what happened to my grandfather. So completely law-abiding, he was a special officer or security guard, and he was protecting this building. He was protecting it from crime, and yet he is accused of first-degree murder. What happens after that is my grandmother was also disowned by her family, so both families had disowned my grandfather and my grandmother. So my dad wasn't even born yet. My grandmother was pregnant with my father when this was all going on. So she was wandering the streets of Denver, toting my 3-year-old uncle around and pregnant with my father at the time. While my grandfather's in jail, there's two versions of the story. One is that, well, let me just tell you this. His parents apparently came to him while he was in jail and said, "We will get you off of this charge. We will find an attorney that will acquit you of this charge, but you must give up your wife." So one version is that he told my uncle later on was that he agreed to that in order to get the attorney. He told my mother the same story, but he told her he never agreed to that. Regardless, he stays in jail for the entire 9-10 months until he is actually given an attorney who argues for bail, but of course there was no bail at the time for first-degree murder, and then later on acquits him of the charge of first-degree murder. What happens when he's finally released from jail is he finds my grandmother and now his 2 children, scoops them up and takes them to California, where I was born however many years later. So the reason why I'm telling you this story is this. This is a law-abiding family, really hard times going on for them. He takes a job, he's trying to do the right thing, and then he ends up getting accused of first-degree murder. And so the reason I tell you that the story in relation to probation, parole, reentry is he felt so incredibly guilty because of the fact that he did kill somebody, even though he was acquitted of the charge, it ate him alive, and literally he died of cancer at age 40. He never received an apology for any of the DA's issues that were going on at the time, because he really shouldn't have been charged with this. The DA was trying to make a political name for himself. He never got any compensation as well. So when you think about bail and probation and parole, when somebody goes to jail, that really ends their relationship with family and friends, their job, their home. Many things are gone for them once they go to jail. So it got me as a young officer thinking about the death penalty and whether or not I really believed in the death penalty. If my grandfather could be accused of this crime and could potentially face the gas chamber or lethal injection, how fair is that? And how often does this happen where we don't even realize it? So it caused me to think about the whole process of our criminal justice system and what we need to change and look at. So that's why I tell you the story. And that's why I want to encourage you to share your story or your experiences or your thoughts around this particular topic. So, hope you enjoyed.